Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican boys, verbal Latinos.
Literally not.
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Oh, for Trump's sake.
All right, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Hope you had a fabulous lunch. Got to watch a lot of press conferences. I caught a few of them myself with Mrs. R.A. Big shout out to Cheryl. Sorry, let me get the music down a little bit and get you back where you belong, Cheryl. Sorry, you're a little out of place. I'll fix it, I promise. There we go. All right, Cheryl, thank you. You were first in chat. Congratulations. You happen to know that it's not a good thing, at least not for you. It might be good for the rest of us. You're sentenced to internet ownership for your promptness. Their channel volume sucks. I crank out the volume here. This is loud. I'm actually a little bit too loud. It was just a notch or two too loud. So 3 to 4 decibels. All right, Cheryl's like, thanks, sort of, maybe, I think. But welcome, Cheryl. You're going to do great. Congratulations. All right, did see the post from the city of Moscow. Press release from July 17th, a few days ago. Just read it today. Due to significant public and media interest in the Koberger investigation, the city of Moscow will be making some of the investigation reports that have not been sealed by the court available to the public and media at no cost to enhance access to public information, and here's the big one, and to reduce the burden on the city's limited staff when the city is legally able to release these records. Until sentence is completed, all investigatory records for this case remain protected from release. Any public record requests will be denied until that time. So, all right. I also owe you an apology. I inadvertently, after saying I was not going to portal you, I inadvertently portaled you to some radio station behind-the-scenes live footage, which may have mentioned Brian Koberger's case in passing at some previous time during the day. It was just all commercials and everything else. So if you went there and you're like, what? Why am I here? Who is this? I'm sorry. That was my fault. I apologize. A couple of you showed up. I'm like, and I got there. I'm like, I think I portaled to the wrong. First of all, I didn't mean to portal. I meant to cancel instead of save because I was looking for someone to portal to. I saved it. And everyone's like, no, here, we're bring your own beer and pass the weed around. And I'm like, well, I'm a recovery addict. I think I'm in the wrong room. But anyway, it was all good. It was all good. Colleen says, you can always portal to me. You can check out the horses. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. We have to get back underway. The Brian Koberger case was an emotional, powerful break, but we are going back to try to catch up to where we were with the Shelby case. I'm sorry. This is a long day. Emotionally, it's quite heavy when you have days like today. So I'm like spent mentally, but we've got work to do and places to go and people to see and all that. So we're going to be jumping back to court here in just a second. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that now as we. There we go. The break is over. The 15-minute break is over. We're waiting for more witnesses to arrive. I'll let that play for a bit because I know they don't show up for just a little bit. We'll be trying to skip the breaks and the breaks and the. Sorry, brain is fried. Absolutely, completely fried. The breaks and the lunchtime we're going to skip completely. So. We'll do that. All right. Who would have thought the Nealy case would be the palate cleanser? No kidding. Oh, my goodness. But it is. It is. Is this guy just as bad or worse than BK? I'd say just as bad. The only difference is he told everything about how it happens, how it went down, what he did, and how, and why. BK told nothing. Yeah, I can't brain today. I has the dumb. You've seen that shirt. That's how I'm feeling right now. When will they send to the jury? Tomorrow, probably before lunch. We'll be caught up by then. I'm not sure if we're going to get everything caught up today because Brian Kober's hearing took a significant amount of time. It's now 4:00 right now, which is normally when we're ending for the day. So we're trying to get a little bit of this in, then we'll pick up there. I think they're still going, honestly. I think it's still, they're still chugging away. Yep, they're still going. So live in real time, 4 hours ahead. We're 4 hours behind now. Have a headache from crying. I'm probably going to have a headache tonight. I usually get one later. But yeah. He told everything, but he lies, so we don't believe him. Right, there's that. Back to penalty phase for, look at the use of emojis. Death penalty phase, pled guilty to 3 murders, murder 1, and 3 animal cruelty. Right. The animal cruelty is a separate charge, which I believe the judge just provides the sentence on that. Or is that, are they separating out so it's a separate case? Bouncy bailiff is super bouncy. Not sure what he had for lunch. We can play at 1.25 speed. I think I'll do that. I will take you up on that offer because we have so much to cover here. Okay. All right. We're good. 1.25 speed it is. Bouncy bailiff is going to look like he's yeah, it looks like he's quite jolly. Looks good. All right, there we go. Amber, I'm going to pin your emoji message. If you limited emojis here, chat would be tumbleweeds. Never cried at a sentencing like I did with KB. So many back-to-back powerful, just heartfelt, emotion-packed victim impact statements that honestly went well beyond where victim impact statements are supposed to go according to the rules. But it's all good. Yes, he is a bouncer. Bailiff is a bouncer. Josh, this is funny. Says, for the record, I had complete faith you were coming back. If I look in mod chat, somebody did a poll. Is RA actually, will RA, who did this poll? Who posted this poll? Was it Weatherwatch? Was it Thomas? Let's see who did this. I voted yes. Let's see. One person voted no. So I think one person changed their vote after I posted the thumbnail. So I saw the press conference for KB, and it seems like the state had not as much evidence as we thought, it seems. I don't know. I think we'll find out they had quite a bit. The question on the poll is, am I really coming back after lunch? I have a bad habit, and it's terrible, of saying, we'll see you after lunch, and then I just go to lunch and I don't see you. Things happen, like the bathroom remodel. It suddenly becomes urgent. Logan says, I honestly thought BK was getting the death penalty. Even if he went to trial, I think KB would have still pled guilty. BK? They could not prove any stalking on social media. Yeah, oh my goodness. Over 30 stabs and significant damage to the head and face. And there's more there. It's crazy. They have no idea where the clothes or the knife is. Papa Roger. Wasn't him. So surprised. Yeah. Anyway, restitution is going to be the next thing. This is going to be families asking for restitution. This could cover, I think it could cover cemetery, like burial costs and mortuary costs. I think it covers pretty much everything the family had to pay out because you killed their daughter or their child or their sister. It might cover, I don't know, airline tickets to fly out to go to court. I don't know the full scope of what the restitution is going to cover. But you're going to add that to I think it was $270,000 in basically court fees. There's a statutory limit of $5,000 per family that he owes in victims' compensation. But then the other reimbursement is going to be on top of that. All right. Why are we not skipping this, says Barbie? We were trying to, but Bouncing Bailiff is hard to pass up. He's just... My chair is about to snap off the pedestal. It's like squeaky and more wobbly than it's ever been. All right, let's see how far this goes. And
You are jurors in the jury box conceded.
Very good. Welcome back, members of the jury. Defense, please call your next witness.
Call Maria Deliberato.
Maria Deliberato, or something close to that.
Raise your right hand right here, please, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do.
Please sign. Please watch yourself.
It's an interesting last name.
Good morning.
You may inquire, Mr. Butler.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your full name.
Maria Deliberato.
And how are you employed?
I am an assistant public defender, and I'm also the executive director of Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty.
And how long have you been with the Public Defender's Office?
I've been with the Public Defender's Office for 6 years, and I had a prior job as a capital defense lawyer before that.
Okay.
And a prosecutor.
She's just against the death penalty. Doesn't matter of principle.
Some point in time, you met Shelby Nealy, is that correct?
That's right.
You see him in the courtroom?
I do.
All right. And initially, did you meet him because of your role as a public defender?
Yes.
All right. That relationship, attorney-client relationship that started between you and Shelby Nealy when you were a public defender and he was a client, at some point that ended?
Yes.
All right. When that ended, did you continue to cultivate a friendship with Shelby Nealy?
Yes.
Right. Could you tell the jury about that?
Sure. I mean, I continued at the beginning. It was just sort of to ease the transition. A lot of times in these kinds of cases, you know, they're really emotional and hard, and clients get used to certain representation. So I continued to talk to him to ease the transition. And then just so he has someone to talk to. He's been in solitary confinement for a long time, and it's really difficult. So more just to continue talking to him, making sure he's okay. He's someone that I care about.
All right. Is this something that you do with other clients, or is this strictly something that you've done with Shelby Nealy following determination of the legal representation?
So this is, I would say, the first time in terms of when the case was like still pending that I continued the friendship. I still maintain friendships with, and you know, checking in on a lot of my prior clients. This kind of work just sort of happens that way. So I do still keep in contact with clients that I no longer represent.
Did she fall for
but I
it?
would like not when their cases necessarily were still pending. I can't think of an example where that happened.
Okay. Do you feel that this is a friendship that's almost like he's become part of your family?
I think so. That's how I would describe it. Kind of like older sister, aunt, maybe. I mean, he doesn't have any family here locally, and again, he's in solitary. So I think, you know, he became someone that I spent time talking to. He got to know, you know, my boyfriend, his family, my friends, lots of other people in my life. So sort of welcomed Shelby into the fold.
Okay. Has he spoken with your parents at some point?
He has. A couple of times he's called, and they've been here to visit, and they know, you know, they sort of know, of course, what I do and support what I do. So he's definitely said hello to both of my parents and my brother.
Okay.
This is weird.
How often would you say you speak with him?
This
It
is really
depends. In
weird.
the beginning, it was definitely more frequent, especially because, of the transition. And over the years, a little bit less. I mean, I try to check in on him whenever I can, maybe once a week or so. Not long conversations, but just sort of checking in and making sure he's doing okay.
All right. You indicated that he's solitary. What does that mean?
So in the jail, he's held in a single cell, so he doesn't have contact with other inmates. His only contact is with the guards or anybody that would come to visit him.
All right. And has that been the case for most of the time that he's been incarcerated?
Yes, there's been a few times when they've tried to move him off of solitary, and then he was always moved quickly back.
He was
Why?
Was moved quickly back.
Okay.
Why?
When there were times when there was talk about moving him out of, it's called protective custody?
Yeah.
Okay. What would his reaction normally be as far as reaching out to you?
He was always very worried and scared, and he would always ask me, please call Bjorn right away and see if he can contact the jail and get me moved back to protective custody. He was always worried for his safety.
Okay. Outside of being a lawyer and outside of the things that you do as it relates to the death penalty, you travel.
I do.
And you climb mountains.
I do climb mountains, very
Okay.
large ones.
And mountains that might actually be dangerous to climb from time to time. Is that?
I think that's fair.
Okay. When you plan these trips over the past several years, while you've
Why are
had
we
Shelby
talking
Nealy
about-
as a friend, do you tell him about your trips?
I do.
In advance?
Yes.
What's his reaction to you telling him about these trips?
Two things. He always likes to sort of know what other people are doing on the outside to sort of understand what the world might be like, and he's also always worried about my safety. Obviously I understand why we're here, and I know the terrible thing that he's done, but he also is a very caring individual, and he always would worry about my safety and make sure that I would be okay, and he would always tell me to be careful.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that he's intrigued by the adventures that you go on?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that he appears to be relieved when you return safely?
Yes, he always wants to know, and there's definitely been times where I've, texted somebody in the office or made sure that, I think I've texted his mom a couple of times while I was traveling to let her know that I was safe so that she could relay that message
Did you
to
ever
him.
do any ice climbing with that hammer?
The,
thing? Sorry. Don't tell him.
While Mr. Nealy has been incarcerated and he's going to be incarcerated the rest of his life, right?
Correct.
Do you anticipate that regardless of where he ends up, if he ends up on death row or serving life in prison, will you continue to have contact with him?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. While he's been here in the county jail, are you aware of the fact that he has actually written a book?
Yes.
Do you know the name of the book?
Finished.
Okay. And has it been published?
Self-published on Amazon.
Okay.
All right.
Tomorrow.
So pretty much anyone can publish a book if they wanted to?
Yes.
You had to type it up or have someone type it up?
That's right.
But it
She's so
can be
proud of
published.
it.
It's been self-published. If you go on Amazon, you can look it up and buy it if you wanted to.
Did you
right?
buy it?
Okay.
Did you leave a review?
Have you read it?
5-star?
I read it when he was writing it handwritten, so I read it sort of chapter at a time. Yes.
Okay. Is it your type of a book?
I mean, I would say it's probably not. It's creative. Mostly for me, the idea that he did that while in custody just shows I knew he wanted to have a purpose, and it's a much better use of his time than I've seen in many other circumstances. I enjoyed reading it because it was something that he created.
Okay. So instead of causing problems and getting in trouble, staying busy writing a book, and that's a good thing.
And trying to find a purpose beyond what we're here for.
Okay. Who would you say, based on your understanding of the book, the audience would be?
I would say a teenage boy, for sure.
Okay.
My partner has 2 sons, and I would recommend his youngest son read it.
Okay.
Really?
Shelby has 3 children, is that correct?
That's right.
All right.
Shelby
and what are their
wouldn't
names?
recommend his own
Mackenzie,
kids read
Bella,
it.
and Oliver.
All right. Mackenzie's the oldest?
That's right.
Okay. As far as Bella and Oliver, is he allowed to have contact with them?
He's not.
Okay. And is there something that he's been doing while he's been in the county jail that involves you and involves his 2 youngest
I don't
children?
want to hear
Bella
about
and
it.
Oliver?
Yes, he's been writing to them on their birthdays. He's gotten cards from the commissary and written those cards and given them to me for safekeeping in the event that either he's ever allowed to have contact with them or when they become of age that they want to have contact with him, whether or not he's alive. He would like me to get those cards to him after they come of age, or at least have them available should they have questions about him. And they're basically cards, from he bought them in the jail, so they're like Hallmarky kind of cards with a handwritten note, just about happy birthday, I miss you, I love you, I'm thinking about you.
Did you say Hallmarky or
you would like this
Walmarty?
toy, or I'm thinking about this, and basically just like that.
Is it Walmart-y?
And you're just holding on to those in the event that in the future they may want them or
Yeah, and in my experience doing this work, I've never had an adult child of a person in these circumstances not want to at least reach out for information and to at least have a conversation with their parent.
Okay.
Whether they continue that relationship or not, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, but giving them that opportunity feels really important.
Okay.
This is officially just nuts right here, just total wacko. I think she's
During the time
conflicted
period
out of all her
how many years have
clients
you now known Shelby?
I started here in March of 2019, and I think I probably met him maybe sometime that summer, so sometime maybe later that summer or fall, so about 6 years.
Okay. And have you seen any changes in him during that time period?
Yes, definitely. You know, he used to not, when things would change in the jail and things would get moved around, he would have a really hard time with change and get very upset, never in a like acting out like in an angry way, but just really like overly concerned and anxious. And over time I've noticed to the point, I think the last time he was like moved, I happened to be in the jail when they were moving him, and he was just like, here we go again, can you let Bjorn know?
Passing.
And there was like, he just had done so much better. He's just done, I think, so much less sort of anxiety, and over the years I think he's gotten much sort of calmer and certainly more mature.
Okay.
This is nuts. I just happened to be in the jail when they were moving him. I'm hearing like psycho music in my head. I mean, I applaud her for sending up to her moral
in the past year and in the past several years, we've had some natural disasters, hurricanes in this area.
Yes.
What, if anything, do you hear from Shelby when the hurricanes are coming and afterwards?
He's always concerned. He's always checking in. He'll call a lot to make sure that we're safe, that things are okay if we lose power. My boyfriend and I happened to be in Hawaii when the Maui wildfires happened. We were actually trapped in our car for about 30 hours while the island was on fire, and Shelby knew that I was there, and there was a great deal of angst and to make sure that we were okay and safe. And so I was able to keep, I think I texted his mom that like we're okay and we're not in any danger. Anytime there's something that he is sort of, he's very helpless in the jail by himself and solitary, and he's always making sure that not just I'm okay, like are my friends okay, are my neighbors okay? He knows the woman who owns my yoga studio, who's a dear friend of mine. He asks about them by name all the time.
Okay. Shelby Nealy has pled guilty to some really horrific crimes.
Absolutely.
And for that, he will die in prison one way or the other.
That's right.
From your experience with him, is he capable of loving others?
He absolutely is. And I have both in my head and heart grief for what he's done, and also know that he's more than the worst thing he's ever done.
Okay. One moment, Your Honor.
Her initials are MD, Maria Deliberato. I'm just looking up the book one more time.
You said the defendant called, was checking on you and people after the hurricane?
Like during, before.
Yeah, I'm sure if he was able to, he would have come and swung a hammer to help fix stuff up too, right?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. It's actually kind of a crusade of yours to stop Florida from executing murderers, right?
That is true.
That is true. In fact, that's you being the executive director of Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty. That's what that organization is aimed at doing, right?
Yes, to replace the death penalty with life without parole.
Pause.
Right.
Pause.
And
pause,
you
pause.
make what?
We're going to go back and play that. I'm sorry. I'm going back and playing that, and we're going to play it at normal speed because the prosecutor just dropped the zinger of all zingers in this. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Let's. Whoops. Whoa. Okay. Now I messed it up. I completely.
He bought them in the jail, so they're like Walmart-y kind.
Walmart-y. We got that part. I went way too far back.
To make sure that we were okay. And
Yeah. We're 30 hours in the car. Hawaii. I text him. I text his mom before I text anybody else. We got all that part. Hang on one second.
Moment,
Okay. Here we go. Listen carefully to this. Listen carefully. This is
That's all I have. Thank you.
mind-blowing nuts.
You said the defendant called, was checking on you and people after the hurricane?
Yeah, like during, before.
Yeah, I'm sure if he was able to, he would have come and swung a hammer to help fix stuff up too, right?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay.
not
It's
gonna
actually
answer
kind of a
that.
crusade of yours to stop Florida from executing murderers, right?
That is true.
That is true. In fact, that's you being the executive director of Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty. That's what that organization is aimed at doing, right?
Yes, to replace the death penalty with life without parole.
Right. And you make, what, about $60,000 a year from that now?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So you get paid to protest or organize protests, different executions, correct?
We don't do protests, no.
Okay. Vigils.
Prayer vigils. It's a prayer service.
Prayer vigils. So
Not a protest.
It's actually organized by a church in Daytona Beach. We participate with FADP at the vigil across from the prison, and there's a prayer service during the vigil. But we don't run it, but I attend every
They
one.
just hold signs.
and what's that been, 14 or 15 in the past couple of years?
That's right. Past 18 months.
So the vigils, you go out there, you hold signs, pictures of the murderer being executed, things of that nature.
No signs. No, it's a prayer service. It's
Okay.
very solemn. You should come.
It would do good to your soul. I'm sorry.
You were representing the defendant for a period of time, right?
My office was, and I was one of the members of the team, yes.
Meaning you were one of the attorneys working on his case?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things that the attorneys do when the defendant's in this situation, you guys, if this defendant is encourage him to do things to present better for a situation like this, correct?
No, I disagree with that.
Disagree with that? And your organization, the Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, you worked with the defendant to help him get his book published, right?
I mean, there's some people in my organization that helped type the book for him and helped him do the publishing on Amazon. Yeah.
Right. Helped edit it, helped type it up, helped get all that done.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
that by on June 24th of 2025, he could have a book out already before this situation, right?
Oh, I mean, he wanted to have this published
her
like 2 or
review.
3 years ago.
It's her
It
review.
just took a long time.
She
a
gave
lot
the
longer
5-star.
than
I
anyone
kid you
thought.
not.
But it wasn't like in anticipation of this. He very much wanted this to be published probably 2 years ago.
Right,
I
because-
think he finished it. I think he finished writing it in January of 2023.
Right. Well, a lot of work goes into something like that, right? There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of typing. There's a lot of things of that nature that normally people are paid to do or do themselves, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you
Username-
self-publish, I think most people type it
Username
themselves. But he
MD.
obviously doesn't have access to a computer.
Right. So
MD
your
left a 5-star
organization,
review.
Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, you
MD.
guys assisted him with all that and did all that for free.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do it like as part of FADP, but the two women who helped him do that do work for FADP, including other jobs that they have.
You helped put those women in contact with this defendant.
Yes.
Okay.
Were you under oath when you left your book review? No?
And you regularly send this defendant books and gifts?
I send him books. Yes, it's a thing I do to the Department of Corrections and jails all over the state.
So you
And
bought-
gifts like coffee?
Like the jail has these like eye care packages, and sometimes there's stuff that you can't get on commissary. And his mom does a really good job of supporting him too, but stuff's really expensive in the jail. And when I can, on a handful of times, I've sent him care packages.
Okay. And you indicated he's been in solitary just about the entire time he's been in custody.
Yeah, there's been a few times back and forth that he hasn't, but for the most part, yes.
Right. And the public defender's office, your office, actually called the jail to make sure that he would stay in solitary, right?
I didn't. I'm not sure.
But that was something that his defense attorneys organized to make sure that he remained in solitary.
I don't know that.
And continued to do when he was moved to Pasco for a period of time, and continued to do when he was moved back, right?
That sounds right. That wasn't something that I believe that I directly did.
Okay. So it's not something that has been imposed upon him, right?
No, I mean, I think for his safety, everybody wanted him to stay in solitary, incling him and his defense team.
Please ask if she
which I
left the
think is
only
still true
5-star
now.
review
Well,
on his book.
his concern for his safety, right? And the defense team's concern for his safety.
Sure, but I mean, I know you haven't been to our jail, but like our jail only has a limited number of those cells, so they're not going to just put somebody in there because they ask for it.
Okay.
hope he asks, are you the only five-star?
And there was one point you said you know the terrible thing he's done. You recall saying that?
Yeah.
And what you mean is the terrible many things that he's done, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's convicted of 4 counts of murder, yes.
Right. Over the period of a year?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a rough year. No, we go through our bad spells.
And you say he's been writing letters for his kids, Bella and Oliver?
Yes.
Now, their mother, Jamie, isn't going to be able to write him any letters, right?
Nope.
He never gave her that option.
I mean, he's pled guilty of her crime, yes.
Of her crime? No, his crime.
Their grandparents, Richard and Laura, they're never going to be able to write him any letters, Christmas cards, anything like that, right?
Nope.
Okay. And you're familiar with Donald DeFore?
Yes.
Right. Donald DeFore was convicted of brutally murdering 2 people back in the 80s, sentenced to death.
That sounds right.
And you have his name tattooed on the back of your neck?
No.
Or back?
No.
No.
What?
Nope. That's very hilarious, but no.
All right.
That is hilarious.
If you'd like to see, I can show it to you. But
Oh,
there's
please.
no tattoo of Donald Dufour on the back of my neck.
It's actually a tramp stamp. No. I didn't
You're
say
getting
that.
bad information, Mr. Serbia.
The defendant's book,
Yeah.
Finished, The Chaos
But
Begins.
it's a neat idea. This is just,
Okay.
this is
Finished,
nuts.
The Chaos Begins. You indicated the defendant had wanted to publish this book for a long time.
Yeah, and he started writing. Like, if I remember correctly, it was. I just remember reading it on the plane to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. So that was January of 23. So that's when it was like that was the end of when I finished reading it.
Did
So
it
was
make you want to
written
jump
then.
off the mountain? Or
So
inspire you to
you,
climb
being
higher?
the defense attorney on the case, I'm sure you had access to all the materials, police reports, things of that nature, jail calls.
Back at the time, yeah, but not anymore.
Okay, so then you would have been aware that back on March 30th of 2019, the defendant had a jail call with his mother where he was talking about publishing a book and making money. Remember that?
I don't remember that. No,
And
I wouldn't have had access to his jail calls.
Right,
She
but it was
reviewed the book on
documented in the
July
police report,
14th,
so I'm sure you would
6
have
days ago.
reviewed the police report, right?
Yeah, again, I wasn't lead counsel on the case. My
9 days
role,
ago.
I wasn't actually even, I was doing Baker Acts then, so I was not like doing the work that I'm doing now at the Public Defender's Office while Mr. Nealy's case was pending. I definitely was a member of the team, but I don't want to say that I read that in a police report because I don't remember. I'm not disputing that it's in one, but I don't remember that.
And so then you're not aware that he was planning to publish a book, hoping to use the publicity for these murders in order to sell the book?
I would be shocked if he said those words.
You'd be shocked if he said, well, considering I'm all over the news all the time, it wouldn't be hard. Hey, it's a book by that dude. Oh, I have to get it just because I'm curious. That's the hope and the dream. You'd be surprised if he said that?
No, I mean, I don't think that's like using the publicity of the murders. I mean, he's always expressed with his book is that he wants to be remembered for more than something than the worst thing he's ever done. And so that's been his goal, and to have a legacy for his children that is beyond what he's convicted of.
So you
Even
don't
if he's executed.
You don't think that that statement indicates hoping to use the publicity for the fact that he is in the news as a murderer?
No, to me, it sounds more like he's already in the news. He wants to write a book. So I would disagree with that characterization.
14 minutes.
And you're aware he's gone by different names over the course of his life. Most of his life, he was Shelby Svensson, right?
Which is his mom's name, yeah.
Correct. But he published the book under the name Shelby Nealy.
Which is his father's name who
Right.
committed suicide. So
You agree?
I
And
do.
that's the name that he has gotten all the publicity in terms of murdering these people under, right?
I thought he actually came in the jail as Svensson, but I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Right. But all the news articles and everything always refer to him as Shelby Nealy. You'd agree?
I haven't looked at all the news articles, but
Oh, you don't keep up with that stuff?
not
And
Thank you.
you're aware that there are times when people who do infamous crimes either do art or literature or things of that nature. You're aware of this phenomenon, right?
I think it's more a function of people being locked in jail for every day for the rest of their life, as they have a desire for a creative outlet. So that's very common.
That happens. And a lot of times they will release their things under a pseudonym, right? A fake name, so that it won't be associated with them or their crimes.
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Okay.
Ask her.
But the defendant certainly didn't attempt to do any kind of pseudonym or anything when he released his book.
No.
He released it under the most notorious name that he has carried.
I mean, you call it notorious. It's his name, and it's the name of his father who's committed suicide.
Right. And in fact, when he put it on Amazon,
here it is.
In the About the Author section, he specifically mentions, which he wrote this, he currently resides in Florida, where he's been incarcerated for the past 6 years at the Pinellas County Jail, patiently awaiting his death penalty trial, right?
Yeah.
He made sure that that was associated with the book that he published on June 24th, 2025 on Amazon.
Yeah, that's in the About the Author section.
Okay. Judge, may I have a moment?
Oh, please say there's only one 5-star review, and it's this lady who did it. Oh, my goodness. This is nuts.
I don't have any questions.
I wonder why the public defender's office was conflicted out. Any guesses? Any guesses why they could not continue
I
representing
believe
him?
you asked if you are paid to be the director of the Floridians Against the Death Penalty, or alternative for the death penalty?
Yeah, I work part-time here at the public defender's office, and that is my second job. Yeah.
Okay. And you get paid for it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the sole reason why you chose to take that position?
Oh, no. I mean, I've been against the death penalty since I was a little kid. And so it's always been a passion of mine to abolish the death penalty. And when the executive director position came up, and they reached out to see if I wanted to do it, I was like, I thought it would be an interesting way to start to use all the information and knowledge that I have about the death penalty to lead an organization to replace it with life without parole.
Okay. The book that Shelby Nealy published, you were asked questions about the last name Rose, Shelby Rose.
Nealy. Shelby Nealy.
Right.
Oh.
But I think you were also asked about the two other last names.
Oh, I think he just asked me about Svensson. But.
Okay. Well, Svensson is one of them, and how does he relate to the Svensson name?
Svensson is his mother's name.
Okay, and so it's his mother and it's his stepfather's last name.
That's right.
Okay, and what's his biological father's last name?
Nealy.
Okay, and where does Rose come from?
I'm actually not sure.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Whoops.
As it relates to
the tattoo, where is it?
To the self-published book, there may be some proceeds.
Yeah, I think he's sold 9 copies or something.
Okay. There's also significant likelihood that there may not be any proceeds of any significance.
I think that's right.
Right. Probably the more likely scenario?
I would agree with that.
Okay. But if for some reason there were proceeds from the book, and it has nothing to do with this case, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
The facts of the book have nothing to do with the facts of this case.
All right. And you never told him that, hey, write this book and it's going to make you look good in front of a jury?
Never.
I mean, you represented a lot of people facing a potential death sentence.
Yes.
Have you ever told any of them to write a book?
No.
Okay. And most of them don't write a book, right?
No, typically I say, how can we spend your time, which very likely, in a death penalty case, it's the rest of his life, right? He's either going to be executed or leave prison in a pine box. So I try to say, what kind of things might you be able to do so you can be a productive human, to remind people that even if they're locked away forever, they can be productive. So sometimes that's painting, sometimes that's reading. That's why I send books. I send books to clients all over the state in prisons after, because I think it's important for them to have purpose.
Did you send
him
his book?
Get themselves into trouble.
Okay. Is it your understanding that if there were any proceeds from the book, and do you have any understanding as to where he wants those proceeds to go?
He wants them all to go to his children. It's the only thing he's ever said.
Okay.
The book has dropped 100,000.
You indicated
in the
that
rankings.
one of the reasons that you took the position with the it's Floridians
For alternatives to the death penalty.
or alternatives to the death penalty.
What is
was
that?
the-
What's that?
not
Floridians alternatives.
just the money, as indicated by
FAD?
Mr. Sarabia, but the fact that you've always been opposed to the death penalty, or at least since you were a young
That's right.
child.
Thank you, Slothlight. Thank
What
you
are some of the
for
reasons why you were opposed to the death penalty?
Actually, Judge.
I just got in a lot of trouble as a kid, and I didn't want to pay the price, so I've been opposed to it ever since. I don't know, what would you say there? Floridians for the
You indicated, I believe, that
alternative to the death penalty.
the reason that Shelby Nealy,
It's
one of
effed
the
up.
reasons that
It's
he
effed
wrote
up.
the
That's what
book
it is.
is that he wanted to be remembered as, I believe you said, for something more than the worst thing that he's ever done.
That's right.
And the worst thing that he's ever done is the reason we're here.
Killed 4 people.
Killed 4 people. Yes. That's all I have. Thank you.
Effed up is what the
Thank you.
acronym is. Little smile at her as she leaves. Well, I don't like saying rude things about people, but some people were gifted more brain cells than others, and I guess life is not fair. So some people are, missing a witness. Have you checked the bathroom? I never would have expected this. This trial is, I don't know why it's flying under the radar so much. It is absolutely crazy. The witness had second thoughts. She's like, nope. Defense is texting the witness. Where are you? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
She's here in the building and evidently went to the wrong courtroom.
We've got witnesses that went to the wrong courthouse, now one that went to the wrong courtroom. Just everyone sit tight. Why is this going on for so long? It's a funny answer, but this sentencing hearing is going on so long because he pled guilty. Had he not pled guilty, we would have a long trial where we would hear all this evidence, and then the jury would determine if they reach a guilty verdict, then they would determine the sentence. They wouldn't have to hear all the evidence again because they heard it once already. They didn't hear it the first time because he pled guilty, so they're hearing the evidence now along with the victim impact statements, and then they're going to decide if he gets the death penalty or life without parole. I guess wrong answers only. What's the next witness going to say? This gets crazy. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have a letter. What's that? We have a letter. In this case, it's from the files Amber dug up. Order withdrawing public defender due to ethical conflicts. Cause before the court on motion of the public defenders to withdraw as counsel due to conflict in the above-styled case. The court reviewed the motion and the adequacy of the public defender's representations regarding the alleged conflict of interest. Being fully advised in the matter, the court finds the grounds are sufficient for withdrawal, and the motion is hereby granted. And they appoint a new attorney. And the
witness issue, and I know you just took a nice snack break. Maybe you're not that hungry, but we're going to have lunch because we have no other choice, right? So if you can be back at 12:45, okay? 12:45. So
we're going to pass
about
forward.
An hour and 6 minutes, all right? We'll see you then.
All right, so we're going to fast forward through the break because we can. Witness didn't show up in time, and we're going to just skippity-doo-dah. And there we go. Right to the end. Boom, boom. Lunch is now over. Everyone clean up your plates, wash your hands, come back, have a seat. There we go. Here we go. We're back. Saw a motion underneath. I'm looking at the motion underneath was the ex parte motion to withdraw due to ethical conflict. Ethical conflict. An ethical conflict has arisen which precludes the further representation of the defendant by the public defender. I have requested the defendant to waive the ethical conflict if appropriate, and the client has declined, or waiver of the conflict is not appropriate. A determination has been made that there is no viable alternative. Somebody's calling in. Hang on one second.
Call from Melissa.
Hey, Melissa, court's about to start. What's on your mind?
Who was the fourth victim?
The brother, her brother, his wife's brother. So the son of the parents.
And he's not being charged. He's not being charged for that.
He is. He's charged for the last three. He's already been convicted of the first one, his wife. That was in a different county. He's currently serving a 30-year sentence for manslaughter in that case.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep.
And can this guy get proceeds from jail for that book?
He sure can.
I thought he couldn't because of his status.
Most of the Son of Sam laws are being struck down based on, Supreme Court rulings.
No.
So
they're
able to make some money. Although some of it can be given to pay their fees and stuff. They can't take all of it. So he definitely could make money.
Okay. I was just shocked that it went to Amazon and it's selling. Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
The last witness is the only positive review, I believe, on that. Her initials match up. Her name was Maria DeLiberato, and somebody named MD gave a glowing 5-star review. Highly, recommends this book.
She was the attorney.
Mm-hmm. And she was also possibly the reason why there was an ethical violation conflict.
She's just like so inappropriate. Oh, God, I can't believe it.
It's a little cringeworthy. Yep. Thank you, Melissa. Good talking to you.
Very fine.
All right, and bye. Okay, we're just waiting for court to begin. Let me find the actual part where the judge says something. Skipping ahead, skippity-doo-dah. There we go. We've got a Zoom witness next. MD could be anyone or her.
All right.
Your Honor, jurors in the jury box are seated.
Very good. Welcome back, members of the jury. Defense, please call your next witness. Sir, can you please raise your right hand?
Hang on, someone's in my house.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. You may proceed.
Thank you. All right, would you please state your name for us, sir?
Philip Adams.
Okay, and are you employed?
I am retired.
Okay, and where are you retired from?
City of Broadview Heights, Ohio.
And did you work for the police department in Broadview Heights?
Yes, I did.
And how long did you work there?
33 years.
And what rank did you retire as? What rank were you?
I was a patrolman.
All right. And what about back in in October of 2016?
I was a patrolman. I was the officer in charge that day.
All right, I'm going to turn your attention to that particular day. Did you respond to 2761 West Wallings Road?
Whose name is that? The other people in the waiting room.
And
Someone just pushed
what
the
did you
buttons a lot.
observe when you got there?
The call was for a male seeking to be transported to the hospital. He's claiming he was having a psychiatric episode. So I responded there with our rescue squad to assist in getting him to the hospital.
All right, and do you know who that male was?
According to my report, it was Shelby John Svensson.
All right, and did you also encounter a female when you got there?
I did.
And her name?
Jamie Nicole Ivancic.
All right, and what did you observe about her when you arrived?
When we got there, she was sitting down in the basement. She was crying. At that time, I heard Shelby stated that he needed help and he needed to go to the hospital. So he voluntarily went with our squad and transported him to the Parma Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. And then after he left with the squad, Jamie was hysterical. She started crying.
And what did she tell you?
She stated to me that she didn't want Shelby to go to the hospital because she didn't want him to get in trouble. So when I asked what she meant by that, she stated that she was 16 weeks pregnant with her second child.
He's reading something.
And prior to our arrival, her and Shelby had an argument. During that time, she stated to us that Shelby choked her, threw her against the wall, and bit her on her left shoulder.
All right,
she went on to state that she believed.
Let me just stop you there for a minute, if I could. Let me stop you there for a minute.
Sure.
What injuries did you see to her?
Visibly, I saw on her left shoulder, she had what looked like a bite mark.
All right, and you were provided a copy of your report and the photos in this case, right? All right, and there's a photo with a female wearing like a black and pink shirt. Was that Jamie Ivancic?
Yes.
Right. Judge, I would move what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 18 into evidence.
No objection. Submitted.
All right, may I publish?
You may.
I think that prior witness was secretly pleased that she got accused of having a murderer's name tattooed on her neck.
Now, you said a squad car took Mr. Nealy Mr. Svensson to the hospital for psychiatric evaluation, right?
Our paramedics, we call it our squad, it's our ambulance. So the ambulance took him.
Okay, so at the time that Jamie is giving you all of this information, Mr. Nealy is not there. He's not hearing what she's saying, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And as a result of what she told you, did you charge Shelby with domestic violence?
We did.
Okay. Was Jamie also charged with domestic violence?
She was.
And did she also tell you while you were speaking with her, Jamie, that Shelby was homeless?
Yes, she told us that.
Had you had prior contact with these two individuals?
We have. We were there on a few other occasions. I believe she lived with her grandmother. That's the address that they were both living at. Usually it was over the same thing, arguments, fighting. I can't recall specifically the other occasions, but it was always, these two were always getting involved with arguments and stuff like that.
All right, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Any cross-examination?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Charges weren't referred in on Jamie until after the defendant had been to the hospital, and then a patrol officer made contact with him out at the hospital, and he made allegations, correct?
Correct.
And ultimately, the defendant was convicted for the domestic violence charges against him, but Jamie Ivancic was never convicted out of this incident. Are you aware of that?
That I don't know for sure. I don't.
Okay.
I know they went to court. They had a pending case prior that they, when she was charged, they added both the cases together. But I didn't see what the disposition was on those.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Any redirect? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I thought we were going to get a tour of his house.
All right, who's your next witness?
Scott Zimmerman.
He's on Zoom too. You got mail.
Sir, can you hear me? Can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Okay, can you hear me all right?
I can. All right, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Very good. All right. Counsel, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name for everyone?
The internet is super slow.
Can you hear me?
Scott Zimmerman.
Okay. All right.
He's
and
on
Mr.
dial-up.
Zimmerman, how are you currently employed?
Yes, I can hear you. Scott Zimmerman.
I am at the International
How are
Space
you
Station.
I'm retired from the Broadview Heights Police Department, but I work for a truck.
All right. How long
I'm
did
currently employed by McLean as a. I'm sorry.
I just hit something. He's
How
driving.
long did
right?
you work
He's
for
got
the
his
Broadview
seatbelt.
Heights Police Department?
27 years.
And what were your job responsibilities back in 2016?
Routine patrol, respond to incidents at residences, anything that be nature of what a normal police officer does.
All right. And do you recall on October 5th of 2016 working a follow-up in relation to a case with Officer Phil Adams?
Yes.
And were your responsibilities in that case to report to the hospital where Shelby Nealy was?
Yes.
All right. And you took photographs of Mr. Nealy at that time?
Yes, I did.
Could you please relay to us what it was that Mr. Nealy told you?
When I arrived at the hospital, I said, who I was. I said, Broadview Heights Police, and I wanted to talk to him about the incident that occurred in our city.
It's ventriloquist as
And
well.
right away, he was like, I don't want to get my wife in trouble. I don't really want to make any statements, but I asked if he would just tell me what happened. His wife get into fights every once in a while, so.
Did he tell you what
and
happened?
I told him I was there to take some photos if he would allow me to.
The pause game did him dirty.
Okay. Did he give you any details about what happened earlier that day?
He said they basically had a verbal altercation, and then she started beating him up.
Did he give you any additional details?
Bandwidth is
He
low.
said that she hit him with a pan in the head. She had scratched him and bit him on the arm.
All right. And you said you took photographs of him in the hospital. He had on a hospital gown. Is that right?
Correct.
Judge, I would move defense exhibits 19 through 24 into evidence as defense 19 through 24.
Any objection?
May I publish?
You may.
There's a picture of the previous witness
You may continue.
with her arm around somebody that she helped exonerate.
State, any cross?
At the place where they've got a big sign for Florida for the alternative to the death penalty. It looks to be across the street from the prison. This is literally the protest that she says she doesn't protest.
Officer Zimmerman, you were following up at Parma Hospital at about 8:20 p.m. on October 5th, 2016, based on an incident that Officer Adams had been out on earlier.
Yes.
And that's because the defendant, Shelby Svensson, had been taken to the hospital before allegations had come out that would have necessitated law enforcement speaking to him.
Yeah, at the time, there was like no charges against Shelby. I went there as in response to him being a victim.
Okay.
So that's why I went there to take photos and just ask a few questions.
Okay. But it was based on that same incident that Officer Adams had been out at earlier when the defendant was transported to the hospital?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Any redirecting, 10 minutes?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
Welcome.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, defense, please call your next witness.
Grace Hannah.
Greeners just sent me another review by the same person on Amazon. It's for an ear
Good
canal
afternoon.
camera.
Hi, good afternoon.
Please tell the jury your full name.
My full name is Grace Ellen Hannah, H-A-N-N-A.
And where do you currently reside?
I live in Tallahassee.
And what do you do?
I have two jobs. I am a social worker for a private company, and then I also work in a consulting role for Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty.
This is Grace?
Say the second one again.
I do some consulting organizing work for Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty.
Okay, and that's the same company that Maria de Liberato is in charge of?
Yeah, the same nonprofit.
Okay. And
she's in the book.
Any particular reason why you became
extreme
involved
gratitude
in
goes
working
to
for that
Grace.
organization?
Yeah, I mean, not specifically that organization, well, except that I live in Florida, but I became interested in ending the death penalty and death penalty work in general pretty early on. When I was in elementary school, a cousin was murdered, and
Listen to this review.
So, are you paid to work for that organization?
I am now. When I first met Mr. Nealy, I was not, but in recent months, I have taken on a role at that organization.
One of her many jobs besides looking beautiful, according to Mr. Nealy.
Did you decide to have what you refer to as a yes year?
I did. I decided I was going to say yes to everything I got asked to do in 2024.
Okay.
Within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a bad idea.
And was one of the things that you were asked to do to assist in typing up a manuscript?
Yeah, I was asked if I would be interested in helping an inmate type up a manuscript of a novel that he had written.
A yes year.
And that
it's like liar, liar, but you can't say no.
Shelby Nealy.
And so did you agree to help type up this manuscript?
I did.
Was this a volunteer project?
It was.
And how long did it take you to type up the
She rolls
manuscript?
her eyes.
Yeah, I did it kind of on the side of other things that I had going on. So it took, almost a year, but I only worked on it like an hour or two a week.
Okay, all right. And so it was all handwritten?
It was handwritten. Yeah.
Describe what you received initially.
I received an envelope of, it was like 800 pages of like normal lined college roll paper. With the whole novel written out on it.
What did you say? What was your reaction?
And,
what words escaped your mouth
as
when
you
you saw
were
it?
typing up this manuscript, I assume that you were able to get an idea of what it was about?
I was, yeah.
And describe what kind of a book is it?
It is a sci-fi book kind of about two groups of people, not quite good and evil, but just two, kind of in like the realm of Star Wars or Star Trek, like the two competing groups trying to save the universe.
Okay, all right.
Two competing groups trying to save.
During the time that
aren't
you
they allies then, not competing?
You were typing up this manuscript. Would you communicate with Shelby Nealy on a regular basis?
Yeah, we did video visits, usually once a week, sometimes a little less, and we just did video because that was free through the jail.
Okay.
And I'm not spending a dime on him.
So about once a week you would have a visit with him?
Yeah, sometimes I'd be traveling for work and wouldn't visit with him, but yeah, often once a week on average.
Did you develop a friendship with him over that time period?
Yeah, I would say we became friends.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 28.
And how old is Shelby?
I believe Shelby is 31 or 32.
Okay, all right. And tell us a little bit about the friendship that you developed over that time period.
Yeah, so for, a long time it was really just like conversational because I was typing the book kind of separately. So I would give him an update on kind of where I was in the book and how things were going. And then we would just visit and talk. We talked a lot about things he was reading and things that I was reading. Sometimes we would talk about current events and things like that. But it was really just like very casual conversational topics.
Okay. Did he talk to you at all about his housing arrangement at the jail?
He did.
Okay.
He did.
And what was your understanding of his housing arrangement?
My understanding was that he was in protective custody so kind of by himself for the
Okay.
most part.
All right. Did you ever talk to him about the idea of going into general population?
We talked about it a little bit,
Okay.
off and on. He didn't seem super thrilled by the idea of it at times.
Okay. Did he seem concerned about going into general population?
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Okay. All right. You say you, at this point, based on your interaction that you've had with him, you consider him a friend.
Yeah.
Okay. He contributes to your life.
Yeah, he's thoughtful. He cares about what's going on in my life, and he remembers my friends by name and asks about them. He's certainly not like my best friend, but I think talking to someone for an hour a week for over a year, you get to know each other and you care about each other.
Okay. And does it appear to you that he cares about you as a friend?
I think so, as a friend, yeah.
Okay. Nothing beyond that.
I absolutely promise you not, no.
Okay, all right.
She's no way in.
Will you, regardless of whether or not he ends up on Florida death row, or if he ends up serving time the rest of his life in general population in prison, do you anticipate that you'll continue to communicate with him?
Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't.
Okay, all right.
Nothing else. And it's still yes.
That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Did you buy his book? No?
So you worked or were doing work for Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, and that's how you met this defendant?
No, I had been involved in anti-death penalty volunteering for a while, and so I knew Maria through that, and that's how I met the defendant. I didn't work for Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty until about 2 months ago.
Okay. So you weren't doing volunteer work with them?
Yeah, and for like the movement more broadly, not just for them.
Okay. But basically you were working as an activist against the death penalty. That's how you met Maria, I assume?
Yes, sir.
And Maria pointed you in the direction of this defendant?
Yeah, she asked if it was something I would be interested in, and yeah, it was always very clear that it was like, if this is something you want to do, and I was saying yes to everything in 2024, so.
Sure. Sounds like you did a lot of work on this book.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was interesting. It was a good thing to do while I was, watching TV or anything, like listening to music.
Sure. And it's pretty thick book. I think on Amazon it's like 700 something pages.
Yeah, it's like a saga for sure.
So, and you didn't charge the defendant for any of that work, right?
No.
That was all out of the kindness of your heart. Okay.
Yes.
And that book, he did in fact get published on, or self-published it on Amazon June 24th of 2025, so just a couple weeks ago.
I don't know the date, but yes, it is available on Amazon.
Okay. And I suppose that you're aware that's the book the defendant's been reading while we've been going over all the injuries that he inflicted upon these three people?
I really haven't been following the trial this week, or the sentencing.
Okay.
It's good because we've had a sequestration order in effect.
Did you keep up with the Amazon posting that he put up?
I've seen it, but I don't follow it closely.
All right, and he specifically made sure to mention that in the About the Author section that he's currently in Florida, Pinellas County Jail, patiently awaiting his death penalty trial. You recall that?
I haven't read that, but yeah, that's possible.
Okay.
What about the part where he says, special thanks to Hannah?
Honestly, when I had finished typing the book, I was ready to never look at the book again. So I haven't spent a ton of time with it since it's been published.
Again, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you got connected with this defendant doing all that volunteer work because he killed 4 people.
I got connected with this defendant doing all that volunteer work because I believe that every person deserves human connection and care, and like that we're all worth more than the worst thing that we ever did.
Okay.
It's almost like you heard that from your boss. Good thing. But
If I can have a moment, Joe? You may.
And it was a yes year. That's how I got connected with him.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to make sure, maybe I misheard it, but did Mr. Sarabia just ask you if you did this volunteer project because Shelby Nealy killed 4 people? Is that what he asked you?
That's how I understood the question, yes.
Okay. Clearly, you don't approve or condone what Shelby Nealy did, right?
No, I really would have rather Shelby not do that. Actually.
Right. You agree that's a horrible thing?
It's horrible. It's,
okay.
Yeah.
What is the real reason why you are volunteering doing this kind of work?
I'm volunteering doing this kind of work because I I mean, you know, I'm a social worker by training. I care about people, and I care about the death penalty, particularly because of personal experience. And I think that if you have the ability to do some good in the world, particularly to people who are not, you know, not being reached by the general public, I think that's really worth doing.
What is the personal experience that you've experienced
Objection.
that has brought you to doing this kind of work?
Objection.
We did open the door, but I think she answered the question, so I'll sustain the objection.
Can we approach?
Okay.
Okay, while they fight this over, I'm going to read you one of the excerpts from the previous witness, the lady, the crazy, I'll say the crazy situation with the lady who used to represent this client. Amazon review, 5 stars, easy to use. It takes a little getting used to it in order to find the right angle, but you do not have to insert the camera far, so there's no risk of injury. 5 stars. Cuts out frequently. I've had this cord for a month, and if I pick up my phone while it is plugged into my car, it cuts out and stops playing through my speakers. If I put my phone back down in a certain position, it will reconnect in CarPlay. I was driving today, and it cut out approximately 7 times, and unfortunately, the return window has closed. Not good product. Do not buy. So thin you can see through it, and the slit is so high. Not good fabric. That's a skirt. Apparently not her style. That's a Pretty Garden women's summertime flower skirt. You got the easy to use inside your ear canal, and then you've got the get lost in a creative and compelling world. You know what this is for? This is for the book. Creative and compelling. It's easy to get lost in the world and the characters Mr. Nealy has created. Highly recommend the read. Highly recommend the read. Can't wear that. Who's Hannah? Oh my goodness. Can't wear that to visitation. Oh my goodness. She's anti-cable. What I've done is I went to the book on Amazon. I looked at the reviews, and the 5-star review is by somebody by the name of MD, who happens to match the name of the person who said she helped with the transcript. And sure enough, somebody named MD. Oh, why do we not hear this? Can we hear this, please?
It is.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that the kind of books that you prefer to read?
No, I read mostly nonfiction, like almost exclusively. So.
There might be an audience for the book?
Sure.
But it's just not you.
It's just not me.
Okay. Will you continue to have contact with Shelby Nealy?
Yeah, I don't. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. I anticipate continuing to.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not okay.
Thank you. Ma'am, you may step down.
Yeah.
Defense, please call your next witness.
What do you mean you don't like my book?
All right. Is Dr. Campbell your next one?
Yes.
On Zoom? All right, you gotta get back on Zoom now.
Uh-oh. We have a text emergency on the defense table. I didn't see the previous witness leave the room. I think she's now sticking around. Mr. Nealy wants to see who this is. This guy thought he was the next witness. He's not. Our hurts for you. Oh, I'll share my hurts for you at the end of this. That'll be our palate cleanser. I'll tell you the whole hurts experience, and it hurts.
Mr. Campbell, can you hear me?
These are
Mr. Campbell?
These are court-appointed attorneys,
Email them or whatever.
not public defenders. I mean, yes, public defenders, but not from the public defender office. Does that make sense?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes. I can just barely hear you, and it says that your audio's off, so I don't know why I can hear you at all. But can you unmute yourself?
So glad he was wearing pants today. He's trying on the feature on Zoom that is blur my background. It's a little setting you can set on your camera setting. Oh. Welcome back.
All right, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me?
Please don't do anything inappropriate.
All right, I don't know what happened there. I mean, it appears as if his audio is off. Can you hear me?
He says he can't hear anything.
All right. All right, so my audio is on, and his is still off. Okay, he still has the microphone with it. There we go.
Mine is now off. I can hear you, sir.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
beautiful. All right. Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, Dr. Campbell.
Good afternoon.
Can you please tell the jury your full name?
Yeah, my name is James Burton Campbell. That's C-A-M-P-B-E-L-L, just like the soup.
And Dr. Campbell, could you tell the jury a little bit about your educational background?
Sure. I have a bachelor's degree from Colgate University, which is in Hamilton, New York.
Colgate?
I did some post-baccalaureate work in the area of psychology at Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. I have a master's degree in clinical psychology from Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Is that an online
And
school?
I have a doctorate in clinical psychology also from Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale.
Never heard of Nova Southeastern.
And
They have a
Dr. Campbell,
football
what
team?
is your practice? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I basically have two businesses, two practices. The first and the longest standing is my private practice, where I treat adult survivors of child abuse, people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, things of that nature. That is kind of the typical private practice psychology business that one might imagine. I do that approximately 20 hours a week. The rest of the week I work as a forensic psychologist, doing evaluations, writing reports, and offering testimony in situations like this. Again, specifically on the topic of trauma, abuse, child abuse, adult survivors of child abuse, post-traumatic stress disorder, things of that nature.
And how long have you, first of all, been in private practice offering counseling for victims of PTSD?
Well, I've been working in the area of trauma since 2009, but a lot of that time was graduate work, postdoctoral residencies, things that were required by the state. I was licensed in January of 2014. That was when my practice officially began. And I started doing forensic work the summer of 2015.
Okay, so about 10 years ago is when you started the forensic work.
Yes, 10 years, pretty much right now, I believe.
All right. And how did you come about doing the forensic work?
Well, I was working with a gentleman named Dr. Stephen Gold, who is a clinical psychologist. He's fairly well known, especially in Florida, for his work with adult survivors of child abuse, people who suffer from complex trauma, things like that. He was a mentor to me, a boss to me, a supervisor for me while in graduate school. He offered the opportunity to join his practice, or to at least lease room from him and to work with him after I got out of grad school. And so I took the opportunity, and he began getting involved in the forensic world. And so he encouraged me to do the same. He was looking for somewhere to refer cases that he couldn't take, or if he was busy, things like that. And I was hesitant at first because I didn't really know a lot about the legal system, but I did eventually agree to do that, and I've been doing it ever since.
And during the 10 years that you've been working in the forensic field, have you been recognized as an expert witness in courts throughout the state of Florida?
Yes, I have.
Does that include state and federal courts?
No, I've been involved in a couple of federal cases, but none of them have actually gone to trial yet.
Okay.
So I have not testified in a federal court. I have been involved with some federal cases, but to this point, all of my testimony has been in state-level courts.
Okay. How did you become involved in this case?
I was contacted in 2019 by a lawyer by the name of Allison Miller, who at the time was working for the Public Defender's Office.
All right. And when you were contacted with her, what do you do after being contacted with her by her?
Well, she essentially said that she had a case that she believed involved some potential trauma, and that she wanted me to do an evaluation specific to trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder, and that she was hoping to hire me. And so we went through the contract negotiations or the JAC appointment, things of that nature, at which point I went about scheduling a visit to see the defendant.
Okay. Prior to visiting with Shelby Nealy, did you review anything?
No, I did not.
All right. And how much time did you spend with Shelby Nealy the first time that you met with him?
The first time was on the 24th of April, 2019. I was there for 3 hours.
All right. And when you met with him for about 3 hours, was that here at the jail?
Yeah, they're in Pinellas County, yes.
Do you know if he was in protective custody at that time?
I honestly do not know. Okay. I know that we met in one of the rooms down there on the first floor. They brought him down to me. I don't know the status of his care at that time.
All right. What kind of information did you obtain during that meeting with Shelby Nealy?
Well, one of the things that's really important in these situations, and one of the areas where I've been relatively successful, is in building rapport with people in these situations, these forensic crimes and situations. People who have been through trauma have a hard time trusting other people. They've been hurt, they feel betrayed, they feel abandoned. So building a relationship and building trust helps to encourage the person to be more forthcoming, to be more truthful. I set up a condition of non-judgment and acceptance. So that was a large part of that first meeting. Beyond that, what we did was we started working our way through his life experiences, starting with his childhood, working our way through his life. Where was he born? Where did he go to school? What was school like? What was his mom like? What was his dad like? Just starting to kind of build a history of what he's been through up until that point.
Okay. So at this point, it's a self-reported history by Shelby Nealy to you.
Correct. And I know that in forensic settings, records are available and very helpful, and I do appreciate the use of records to corroborate things. Unfortunately, psychology is a subject that still to this point we rely pretty heavily on self-report. Okay. There's no measure, there's no MRI, there's nothing like that can tell us what thought a person is having in their head. So unfortunately, the only way to get that sort of information is by self-report. It's something that I have to rely on fairly heavily in my clinical work in my office from the treatment angle, and so that's not really unusual.
Okay. Is it in fact common that people that talk to you about past trauma are not eager to talk about past trauma?
Absolutely. They're often very hesitant. Even people that I've been working with as a psychologist in a treatment setting for 6, 8, 10 years oftentimes will say, there's something I never told you, I want to tell you, but I'm scared, and we'll have to kind of work through it to get to the point where they're comfortable saying it. Most people who've been traumatized see the expression of emotion or the giving of personal details to another person as a thing that exposes them or makes them vulnerable to being attacked back. You're basically giving that person ammunition against you, telling them that you're insecure, telling them that you're depressed, telling them, whatever actual facts about your life. So they're very hesitant to spill that over and to tell other people.
You'll be back. You'll be
So,
back.
as it relates to this initial meeting, you're building up trust. Tell the jury a little bit about what kind of information did Shelby Nealy give you during this initial meeting that assists you in evaluating his case and the circumstances surrounding his life?
Well, like I said, in this first one, we started from the beginning, from birth.
I'm going to
so
speed
we
this
talked
up.
about
Is that okay?
his mother and his father. We talked about them living in Texas, and that his mother had to flee that relationship because of domestic violence. He spoke about not really having a relationship with his father, not having contact with his father, that he did have a stepfather named Paul who was in his life from about the age of 3 on. He spoke about living in Ohio with his mother and his relationship with his mother, some of the positives of that relationship, some of the negatives or limitations of that relationship. We spoke about his curiosity about his father and the letter that he wrote to his father when he was 14, that he went to visit his father when he was 15, and that his father then subsequently committed suicide about 2 years later when he was 17, on the day after Mr. Nealy's birthday, actually. We spoke about the impact of that and how that event changed the course of his life and the years that followed, which were very tumultuous.
During this initial meeting, does he mention anything about being sexually abused?
No, he did not.
If someone has been sexually abused, is it
455th
uncommon for them
in psychology in the
to
nation.
not immediately disclose that?
No, in fact, it's very common for people to keep that to themselves and again, protect it for all the reasons I outlined earlier. But, when it comes to sexual encounters, they're that much more intimate, that much more personal. And in a lot of ways, especially for men, they can be viewed as embarrassing. And it's something that, that particularly men don't willingly admit, without some sort of kind of coaxing or encouragement to be honest and open.
Okay. Does he describe a sexual relationship with the stepmother in any way, shape, or form during this initial meeting?
No.
Okay. You indicated that he talks about his mother the mother and Shelby Nealy leaving Texas for Ohio because of domestic violence that was taking place in the home.
He did, yes.
Okay. He was very young when he left Texas, right?
Yes, maybe a year old or just under a year. I believe he said he had been told that they left when he was 11 months old.
Okay. And so the likelihood is that when he tells you about what happened in Texas before they fled to Ohio, that's not something he remembers himself, but something that's been told to him by others.
Absolutely, and he did preface it by saying that. This is what my mother has told me.
Okay, all right. Trauma to the mother when she's pregnant and when she has a newborn and when that trauma is witnessed by the newborn, is that something that may impact the child? Is it trauma even though they don't remember the specifics?
Overall.
I'm sorry?
You can answer.
Okay, thank you, sorry. As far as the physiological part of a pregnant woman being abused, I can't really comment on that. That's out of my area of expertise.
Right.
I certainly know that there is research out there pointing to the mother's state of mind, the mother's feeling of safety and security and ability to relax and not feel anxious and things like that in terms of healthy pregnancy outcomes and prenatal development. So that is certainly a factor, especially if that abuse was going on while she was pregnant. Once the child is born, the concern that I have is for what we call attachment. The first year or year and a half of your life are very important in terms of your ability to attach to your primary caregiver. Now, in an ideal situation, that's your mother. Obviously, there are other situations where babies are adopted or things like that. But in this case, we're talking about the specific relationship between his mother, Lisa, and Mr. Nealy. And the development of a healthy attachment during that time is the foundation for self-esteem, self-confidence, your own identity, your own beliefs about yourself, not to mention your ability to connect with other people and your ability to trust other people. a secure primary attachment during that time is very important. And my concern is, and this is something that I did speak with Lisa about, his mother, on the phone, is that while she was giving as much time as she possibly could to Mr. Nealy when he was an infant, she was also dealing with this situation with her husband. She was, in danger of physical and verbal abuse, and then obviously the move is quite unstabilizing, kind of, chaotic, trying to get away, all of that stuff. So my concern is that it affected the relationship between them and may have had long-term, impact on Mr. Nealy or his mother moving forward.
So the trauma that you find out about during this initial interview, do you rate it at that point as far as the most significant, or do you do that at a later time?
I kind of do that at a later time when I've got the whole picture in front of me.
Right.
The other thing that's really important, and this is probably a good place to slip it in, is when it comes to trauma, psychology in general, but trauma specifically, it really has a lot to do with the individual and their perspective. So, what you might seem like a very traumatic experience to you or I might not be seen traumatically or with such intensity by the individual who's living it. Likewise, a situation that may seem like not as much of a big deal to some, to a third party may be very, very traumatic to an individual who's actually going through it. So oftentimes we do have to rely on some level of self-report in terms of which traumas were most impactful. Which ones were, the ones that really changed his view of his world, the view of himself, and affected his behavior and his ability to control his emotions. Because that's really what we're talking about here, is those traumas affecting his ability to function after the fact.
Okay. What is the next thing you do after you finish this initial meeting with Shelby Nealy?
Well, we went through a lot of information. We got through a lot of information, but I wanted to meet with him again. So I scheduled another interview soon following. It was on May 15th, 2019. And I returned to Clearwater to meet with him at that time.
Okay, and that was in the Pinellas County Jail again?
Exactly, yes. Every time I've met with him, it's been in the Pinellas County Jail.
Okay, same location?
Yes, I believe it was exactly the same room.
Okay. And tell the jury about that meeting.
So we started off, I started off asking some questions to fill in some gaps, specifically about his short relationship with his father, his emotions surrounding it, things of that nature. We then went into kind of continuing his social history, talking about his experiences, his experience with his experience and the turmoil that he went through after his father's suicide, which involved getting, the use of drugs, the use of alcohol, getting his girlfriend pregnant, dropping out of school, getting a job, being arrested a couple of times, having difficulties in that marriage, which led to some domestic violence charges, and then the dissolution of that marriage, which separated him from his daughter as well. And then there was a series of small-time jobs, homelessness, difficulty with his mother, basically just him trying to get on his feet until the time when he met his second wife, Jamie, and his feelings surrounding that and moving forward into that part of his life.
Okay. What was your understanding of his relationship with his biological father?
Well, there was no relationship until the age of 14, at which point he was curious. He talked to me about the fact that his mother and Paul, he knows that they always loved him, and that they tried to care for them as best they could, but in his words, they just weren't really very good at it. He never felt a super strong connection, and so he reached out to his father, hoping that he was more like his father perhaps, and that he could find a connection to one of his caregivers that he could really latch on to.
At age 14, he did that?
He talks about going to visit him. He talks about that trip being very good, very healing, very helpful. That he spoke with his dad. His dad tried to bring up the past and apologize. Mr. Nealy said kind of thanks, but no thanks, let's just move forward. But he reports it being a very positive visit. Again, at that time, we did not discuss his sexual relationship with his mother-in-law. But we did talk about his relationship with his father and how it gave him confidence and it made him feel better. He had been dealing with a lot of depression and a lot of depressive symptoms, feelings of self-harm and things like that as a teenager. So he really thought that maybe meeting his father was kind of a turning point, that maybe things would get better.
And I think you just said with his mother-in-law, you mean his stepmother, the sexual relationship?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, stepmother, yes.
Okay. But he doesn't bring it up during the second meeting?
Mother-in-law, just about.
No, he did not bring it up until I saw him in 2025.
Okay.
That relationship was totally
And again,
different.
is that unusual for him not to bring it up?
Killed that one.
Assuming it happened, is it unusual?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Assuming that it happened, is it unusual for someone not to disclose that type of behavior?
No, it's not unusual for someone to, hold something like that back in a clinical setting or with a psychologist or something like that. It is also not uncommon in these kinds of proceedings because oftentimes, these defendants are getting input from their lawyers in terms of what they should talk about or shouldn't talk about or things like that. So there's a lot of factors.
Okay, all right.
Are you saying he created it? At the suggestion of his lawyer?
If it was Shelby Nealy's intent, shortly after being arrested on these charges, to fabricate being a victim of sexual abuse, would you expect that he would tell you about it and be eager to tell you about it right away?
Yeah, I would expect that if that was something that he, fabricated or made up for the purposes of trial, that he would have done it sooner, and also that he would have not had any hesitancy or issues admitting it, because it wouldn't carry the same emotional weight as if it actually occurred.
Okay. What's the next thing that you do? So you have these two meetings with Shelby Nealy back in 2019, right?
Correct.
What's the next thing that you do?
Well, at that point, I requested as many records, as relevant records, as the defense team had. But at some point there in late 2019, I basically lost contact with the defense team. I did not actually kind of know what the status of the trial was or the case. And I was, the lawyer that had been on it was no longer on it, and I didn't honestly know what was going on.
They were
so
climbing
there were
mountains.
several years there where I just kind of put my file away and preserved my records, but I didn't know what the status of the case was.
Okay. So and up until you were contacted by the current defense team, did you even know that there had been a change in as far as the team is concerned that represents Shelby Nealy?
Well, I knew that because I spoke to the lawyer who hired me, and she said she wasn't on the case anymore. But
Okay.
I had not heard from any other legal teams or anybody in the interim until I heard from your team.
Okay, all right. So when you're contacted again in 2025, what do you do?
Well, I immediately want to schedule an appointment to meet with him, to reintroduce myself, to potentially try and rebuild rapport. Obviously, being absent for over 5 years does a lot to kind of what's the right word, erode a relationship. So I wanted to get there, and I wanted to meet him again and talk to him and kind of reestablish connection.
When do you meet with him?
I met with him on the 28th of January, 2025.
Okay. And when you met with him on that particular day, who was present?
The mitigation specialist, Ms. Boland, was present with me on that occasion.
Okay. Tell the jury about that meeting and what kind of information you obtained from Mr. Nealy during that meeting.
Well, we spoke about a great number of things. We spoke about the time from January of 2018 to December of 2018, the time in between his wife's death and the commission of this crime, the intensity of the emotions that he felt during that time. We spoke in a little bit more detail about his wife Jamie's mental health issues, some of the struggles that he and his wife went through trying to trying to make that marriage work, and that things of that nature. We also spoke about the kind of the beginning of that relationship with Jamie and how he had just been coming off this time where his father had passed. He was having he was acting out. He was doing drugs. He was drinking. He was getting in trouble with the law. This reckless behavior, which is very common of people who go through traumas. They tend to kind of act out in that way to feel alive, essentially, to get that adrenaline rush and to move beyond the constant anxiety barrage that they feel from their traumatic experiences. And he talked about how when Jamie and him first started dating, he was just so happy to be accepted and to feel loved again and to be wanted. And that when she started exhibiting mental health issues, specifically complications from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia or some sort of psychotic disorder, that he looked past it again because he was just so happy to not be homeless, to have a girlfriend, to have a place where he was in a relationship,
Hold on.
To be having intimacy with another person, all of those things that he hadn't had for several years while being homeless and kind of struggling. That he looked past some of that, but that when she got pregnant and had to go off of her medication, that things got very bad very fast.
Did he talk to you about the domestic violence, particularly in his relationship with Jamie?
He did speak about violence, about her mood swings and her lack of medication management. He's spoken also about the issue involving her pregnancies. Their two children were essentially born, I think, 11 months apart or something like that, a year apart.
That's close.
And that during that time, because of the changing in hormones and things like that, it was Mr. Nealy's theory that those hormones and things like that were exacerbating her psychotic symptoms, making them, kind of less well-regulated, making her more moody, more kind of outwardly expressive, and leading to more violence and more verbal abuse as well.
And when you say leading to more violence against Shelby Nealy?
Yes, that's what he said. He did admit that he had to at times, grab her arms, hold her back, even potentially maybe, make contact with a part of her body in a physical way as he was defending himself. But the description of the situations that he gave to me was that she was paranoid. She was very focused not only on him and whether he was cheating on her, which he said he was not, but also she was very jealous of his first marriage, of his first child. He said that she would get angry and beat him for just bringing up his first marriage or his first child, to the point that he eventually had to denounce them and say that Mackenzie, his daughter from his marriage with Caitlin, was not his, to avoid the beatings.
Okay. During this meeting in January of 2025, did he bring up the sexual abuse?
No, he did not. I did not specifically ask about it, but he did not bring it up.
Okay. Do you meet with him again?
I did. Well, I met with him over Zoom, yes, one last time.
Okay. And when was that?
That was June 26th of 2025.
Okay. And tell the jury about that meeting.
Well, obviously it was limited a little bit, like this is limited by the technological kind of component. But Mr. Nealy and I worked very hard and very quickly. We were time limited. It was only 30 minutes allotted. And so we worked very quickly trying to make sure that we filled in any blanks. Mr. Nealy started off right off the bat by saying that he had not realized that we had not talked about the sexual relationship with his stepmother, that was something that he was not telling anyone, and that somewhere along in like the time period of 2021, he and a person that he was doing some form of therapy with agreed that it was good to talk about that and to get it out and to admit it and get it into the open. So we did speak about that. We spoke about the fact that for him, that relationship was not overly traumatic at the time. What he did say is that he was not emotionally ready for that relationship, that she was much older than him, that he had not had sexual partners or been in a sexual relationship like that, but that he believes that he fell in love with her while he was there, and that when he returned home, it was very difficult for him to get over that. He felt as though they connected. He was kind of very attached to her, and that, but he wasn't able to call her. He wasn't able to talk to her because of the fact that she was married to his father. Where this really becomes relevant from my perspective is that when his father does commit suicide just after his 17th birthday, Mr. Nealy immediately started to believe, or at least started to worry, that his sexual relationship with his stepmother was a contributing factor to his father's suicide. He was concerned that he, in some ways, that if his father had found out, that may have led to the suicide or caused the suicide in some way. And so that was very traumatic for him in that sense. He reported to me that as soon as he found out about his father's suicide, he was so distraught that he threw up repeatedly for about, I don't know, he didn't say how many hours, but he said for the rest of the night. And I get the impression that it was a very difficult time, a very difficult realization, and an unknown, something he'll never have an answer to. He'll never know whether that was a factor or not. something that he reported to me still bounces around in his head, and he still questions from time to time.
Whether or not
that infidelity had something to do with his father's suicide or not, whether he had an impact on his father's decision to take his own life.
So the sexual relationship that's reported to you between Shelby Nealy and his stepmother, it appears that it was consensual in a sense. Is that accurate?
I mean, that's accurate, I think, to some level. You guys are the lawyers, so I'll leave it to you whether a 15-year-old can consent to an adult, sexual relationship.
There's that.
But, certainly, I don't think that she forced herself on him. I think that he was a willing participant, just, again, not emotionally prepared for that kind of a relationship.
Okay. Well, doing the work you do, and both counseling and forensically, I'm assuming you know that it's considered sexual abuse when there is the age discrepancy and when one participant is a minor, right?
Absolutely. Yes,
okay.
No, I'm aware of that.
Yeah. And maybe part of the reason for that is the emotional, not being mature enough to understand everything that surrounds the strong feelings involved in those type of activities.
Oh.
Would you agree?
I do agree. I do think that, the emotional maturity and the intellectual maturity of a minor, under 18, is the primary reason for that law. And of course, as we all know now, the brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25, not 18. So that person is even less emotionally, and mentally prepared to handle that situation than we originally thought they were when they wrote that law.
Okay. What else do you review before you sit down and sort of try to figure out if you have some answers for us, for the jury, about Shelby Nealy?
Well, after my visit in January of 2025, I reached out to your office and essentially asked for records, any records that were relevant. I had not seen any records up until that point, despite requesting them from the previous defense team. Right. So it was at that point that I got a great deal of records, and then was able to review those before my meeting with Mr. Nealy in June of 25.
Okay. And describe to the jury, what records did you review?
So the records that I reviewed, medical records from University Hospital, Cleveland Clinic, the Metro Health System, St. Vincent Charity Medical Center, records from the Cleveland Police Department, records from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, records from Broadview Heights, Ohio Police Department, records from Bethany Lutheran School, from Constellation Schools, Parma Community, which is in Parma, Ohio, jail records from the Pinellas County Jail, including medical and classification records, Pasco County Jail classification records, his father, Bobby Nealy's obituary, the divorce complaint between Lisa and Bobby Nealy, and I received all those records in one big pack. And then I did also receive a photo of a poem that was reportedly written by Mr. Nealy approximately 2 weeks ago to add to the list.
Okay. If I could have a moment.
Just downloaded some 314 files from the Koberger case that the
what do you do
police
next?
just
You
made
have all
available.
these records. You've met with Shelby Nealy on multiple occasions. What's the next thing that you do?
Well, I also, as I stated this earlier, but just to make sure it's on the record, I did speak with his mother, Lisa, on the phone on June 11th, 2025. So it was after I received the records, but before the final meeting with Mr. Nealy.
All right. Tell the jury about your interview with his mother.
How did it? I'm sorry.
Tell the jury what kind of information did you learn during the interview with Lisa Svensson, his mother?
Essentially, it was her perspective of Mr. Nealy, her account of what happened in Texas with the violence from the biological father, her observations of Mr. Nealy across the time of his life. I asked some specific questions about things that Mr. Nealy had reported to me. Things that you can't really, corroborate with records, like the fact that he talks about being in his room all day after school, from the time he got home and essentially until he got up the next morning to go to school again. That his mother would bring food up and put it outside of his bedroom door or call him down to get it, and then he would take it back up to his room. things of that nature. So we spoke, about her kind of experiences with Shelby up until the moment of this crime and his subsequent arrest.
Okay. Did the mother corroborate the domestic violence during her pregnancy with Shelby Nealy and the first year of his life?
Yes, she did, both physical and verbal, and she did. We did talk briefly about how that impacted her ability to care for Shelby and to give Shelby the time that she wanted. She spoke about it being a very stressful and chaotic time in her life, and that while her son Shelby was her primary concern, there was a lot of other things going on as well, and that it was a difficult time for her, and that I asked her if it was possible that it affected her infant and her relationship with her infant, and she said, I don't see how it could not, or I don't see how it couldn't have, or something along those lines.
Okay. Did you talk to her about Shelby Nealy's father committing suicide, shooting himself?
We did talk about that. We talked about Shelby reaching out to his father, about his visit to Texas, about changes in his behavior when he returned from Texas, and also about the shock and the impact that his father's suicide had. Lisa saw it kind of from two perspectives. Number one, that he had been curious about his father. He had reached out and had a good meeting with his father, and then his father was taken away from him almost as quickly as he kind of got a father and he was gone. And that was very hard on her son. She also spoke about the fact that this was the first real loss that Shelby had ever experienced, and that he was particularly hurt by the fact that it happened the day after his birthday, that it happened so close to his birthday, and kind of almost felt like that was perhaps a message, something that potentially contributed to the feelings about the relationship, the impact of the relationship with the stepmother.
When you spoke with Lisa, Shelby's mother, you said it was in June of this year?
June 11th, yes.
June 11th. At that time, did Lisa know anything about the sexual abuse?
She did not.
Okay. When you talked to Shelby Nealy and he confided in you about the sexual abuse, was he concerned about how it would impact and affect his mother if she found out about it?
Very concerned. His primary concern was the impact that it would have on his mother if she found out.
Okay. Did you do any other interviews?
No, I did not.
All right. And so you've reviewed the records. You've conducted the interviews that you talked about here today. What is the next thing you do as it relates to your expertise as a forensic psychologist?
I mean, essentially, I sat down and I set out to do what I was supposed to do. I had gathered as much information as I thought I could at that time, so I sat down and determined that Mr. Nealy, by his self-report and the evidence of the records and the experiences he's been through, my professional opinion is that he suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, as outlined in the DSM-5 TR at the time of this evaluation. I can't go back in time and tell you how long he suffered from PTSD. It's unethical to diagnose someone that you haven't evaluated, and I never evaluated 15-year-old or 17-year-old Shelby Nealy. But I can tell you that the symptoms and the experiences that he had during that time, particularly his father's suicide followed by the behavior, and then the first marriage, the homelessness, the second marriage, that period of time right there is very kind of, how do I say this? It's very typical kind of behaviors and reactions of people who've been through traumatic experiences or who are in an emotional crisis actively.
Okay.
All right.
So
let me
mentioned
pause right here. Can I do that?
the suicide of his father as a traumatic event, right?
You guys don't mind if we pause
Yes.
this? We're going to finish this tomorrow. I think we might look into this. Let me just say that the Moscow Police Department has said they're going to release all the documents free of charge, and they just did, and I just got them all. Some 314 police reports from Moscow Police Department. These are redacted. These are not the sealed documents. Some of these are, and their website is crashing, by the way. They posted all these, and the website is crashing. It took forever to connect and actually get these to download. But there's a lot, and I wanted to go through some of these with you just briefly. We'll just tear through these. Scanning, I mean, there is so much here, and it's terrible. It is all terrible. Okay, hit me finder. We're going to start with a general narrative. Do I have to rename this? I don't know. Can you guys see this all right? Does that work? Oh, you can't see it at all because you're on me. All right, let's see if we can get it a little bit bigger here. I can't see it, so. This is the general narrative. Homicide, this is the 1122 King Road. Responding officers, and they list the subpoenas and who they were sent to for various reasons. This does not mean they're a suspect. Okay, it could be a subpoena to a landlord or something. It could be a subpoena to different people at different companies to get information. Loads and loads of subpoenas, cameras, everything. Let's see. We have threatening related, burglary related, accident, non-injury related incident, welfare check related incident. So these are things that showed up at different dates on the history for this address. And then you've got an offender, Brian Koberger, a whole bunch of witnesses, some who were involved, and you were only getting first initials. Obviously the victims, 1, 2, 3, 4, Madison, Zana, Ethan, and Kaylee listed there. We've got more. We've got complainants in there. Burglary, murder. We've got a number of vehicles that were looked at. The Hyundai Elantra, the Range, the Silver Lender Range ID. I don't know what that is. Honda Civic, Chevy Cruze, Jeep Wrangler, Ford Explorer. And then we start looking at some of the evidence that's been collected. And this is a ton. Amazon items, tire repair kit, scissor jack, triangles, stuff that was in the trunk of a car. You've got digital fingerprints, DNA extracts, fingerprints, a OneDrive, a USB, hard drive, BK phone, BK hard drive, BK hard drive, BK laptop. So I think this is going to his apartment, stuff they might have found there. We've got DNA extracts, gray key extracts from phones, something from Gamma Phi Beta, Instagram data, pollen tests, trace mineralogies, just a ton. Look at this, the sort of data and information they were pouring through. You've got Cellbrite reports, interviews from Mr. Koberger, 3 of them apparently. Whether or not those were long or short, I don't know. Instagram DVD. Zana's old phone was in there. You've got jail call copies that are included in this. Just everything you can possibly think of. Videos from various different McDonald's. From a stinker video. There's a stinker video. Pullman DMV. All this evidence. This is stuff that would have come in. Shirts, jackets, blankets, curtains, K-bar sharpener. Those are the knife and the knife sharpener stuff we're talking about. Just a lot of data here. This is not the stuff that we want yet. The stuff that just gets really terrible is when you start reading about the reports. This is supplement number 2. I've got 314 of these to go through. Moscow police report. This is from Eric Warner. Says 11:58 in the morning. Respond to the report of unconscious person at 1122 King Road. Dispatch advised of a female was passed out from intoxication and not waking up. Dispatch advised there was a male seen in the room with the female last night. A short while later, dispatch advised the female was not conscious and not breathing. As I arrived, Officer Nunez advised over the air it appeared to be a homicide. I saw a small group of females outside the home in the parking lot. One female advised their roommate was on the second floor and needed help. I went to Officer Nunez's location at the west bedroom of the second floor and passed a male in the living room, later identified as HJ. Officer Nunez advised the female and a male in the bedroom had blood on them and appeared to be beyond help. I walked out of the bedroom toward Jay and saw a clean steak knife on a beer pong table. I pointed out the knife to Nunez. Jay said he got the steak knife from the kitchen because he arrived and saw the female on the bedroom floor covered in blood and did not know if there was anyone else present in the room. Jay said that he did not... Sorry, I just skipped really quickly. Let me change my view. Do not know if there's anyone else in the room. Jay said he checked the room with the knife for protection. Officer Nunez and I walked to the first floor entrance with H. I asked the females and H if there was anyone else in the apartment, and they did not know. I told Officer Nunez the home was not secure, and we started the process of clearing it. On the third floor, in the southeast bedroom, I saw two clothed females lying on a bed on their backs who appeared deceased. One female on the left side of the bed in relation to the bedroom door had an extreme amount of lacerations to her face and upper body, which made her unrecognizable. The other female had multiple lacerations on her upper body and some blood on her face. I walked to the far side of the bed to determine if the female on the right was beyond help. I saw the female's leg was off the edge of the bed and it had lividity. Once I noticed lividity in the female's leg, I backed out of the room. Officer Nunez and I checked the rest of the third floor and saw it was clear. There was a pool in the west bedroom on the bed, which was later taken to the there's a poodle, on the west bedroom of the bed, which was later taken to the Humane Society. After clearing the home, I briefly interviewed Jay. Jay said he was at his apartment. Blank and his girlfriend, EA, received a phone call from one of the girls who lived at 1122 King Road. Jay said A was called by one of the residents who said they could not wake the female on the floor. Jay said he came over to their home at approximately 11:55. Jay said he saw the female on the floor of the bedroom and he did not see the male on the bed, who he identified as Ethan, before grabbing the knife. Jay said he entered the bedroom and checked the female's pulse and found none. Jay said he did not check Ethan and left the home. I thanked Jay for talking with me and told him he could go stand with A, who was with the other residents in front of the home. I stood by at the front door and started the crime scene log at 12:15 hours. Sergeant Gunderson relieved me for approximately 3 minutes so I could get my gloves. During my time at the front door, approximately 1500 hours, I was relieved by Officer Rosinski, who took possession of the crime scene log and returned to the station. At approximately 1528 hours, I came back to the scene and relieved Officer Smith, who was standing at the rear sliding glass door, which was found open when officers arrived. I remained at the back door until I was relieved by Officer Nunez at approximately 1628 hours. So this is one of many. That takes us to... Did I read one already? That was one. Going to two now. Let's see. Two was Eric Warner. That's what we just read. See mod chat. These are things I think we've got most of before. Yeah, the website's crashed. Oh, man. Number 3, this is Mitch Nunez, the other officer who tells his version of that same event. Let me get this full size. What's the shortcut for this? Is there a key shortcut for continuous scroll? Command 1. All right. Mitch Nunez, Officer Nunez, responded to that address as well as Gunderson, Snyder, and Warner. He got there at 11:56. He responded, describes the residence, a single-family residence with multiple bedrooms. I was directed to the bedroom on the second floor by H.J. in the northwest corner to locate the unresponsive female. Upon entering the room, I observed a female lying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to D.M., this female was likely Kaylee J. Goncalves. D also arrived. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed in the same room, I observed Kylie. I observed a male. In the same room I observed Kylie. I observed a male lying supine on the bed. The male was likely Ethan J. Chapin. D said Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs, surrounding his body into the bed sheets, and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, H showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told H to leave the knife and go back down the stairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved to visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the third floor, Officer Warner found 2 additional apparently deceased females, both lying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the third floor. According to D, these 2 females were likely Zana A. Kernoodle and Madison M. Mogan. One female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and the immediate area, to include the parking lot immediately to the north of the residence. I walked outside and began interviewing D. D told me that approximately 4 o'clock in the morning she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. D said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. D said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor, down the stairs to the 2nd floor, and into the northwest bedroom. D said she locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear a commotion. D said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you." Suddenly victim impact statements mean something a little bit different. I'm going to help you. D said she did not recognize the male's voice. D said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build, with a black ski mask leave the 2nd floor patio area. This patio door was likely left open as it was found open upon my arrival. I interviewed an additional roommate, B.F., who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. B said she was on the 2nd floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with D, and an unidentified person named L.B. said, named L. B said at approximately 200 hours, so 2 a.m. in the morning, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club Bar located at blank in Moscow, Idaho. They blocked out the bar's address. B said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wandering Kitchen truck and was commonly located in the 300 block of South Main Street. You got video from that, I think. B said she and Madison let Madison's dog out, Murphy, sometime between 200 hours and 230 hours. Amber, I'm sorry. I need to get these. I'll see if I can push all these to you right now. You shared it to me in an email. This is so bad. I don't know what details we've had before and what ones are new, but there's clearly stuff in here that we did not have before. Let's see. B said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. B said she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. B said that she went to bed around 2:30 hours. B said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 2:30 hours to ask if she knew where Murphy was. B said she told Madison no, and Madison left. B said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the 1st floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker with a flash. B said she instantly thought the sound was a prank. According to B, phone logs she showed me, B called Zana at 4:21 hours, and Ethan at 4:22 hours, Madison at 4:22 hours, Madison again at 4:30 hours, and then Kaylee at 4:31 hours. B said she never received an answer on each phone call. B said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 hours when 911 was called. Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located on the 2nd floor bedroom with Ethan. After comparing D initial statement with other investigations officers' observations, it appeared to actually be Zana that was located on the floor of that bedroom, and Kaylee was one of the other females located in the 3rd floor room. I also observed the following vehicles in the gravel parking lot, and they listed a number of vehicles which were not relevant, as they're all tied to people who had every right to be there. I was originally assigned to identify all the people in the area. However, I was reassigned by Sergeant Gunderson to begin the search warrant application process. I provided the above information to the search warrant application. He returned to assist securing the southwest patio entrance. I took responsibility from Officer Warner and documented who entered and exited the residence. They kept the log, and here's the list of officers who go in and out and when. Okay, Amber, I might, we might start a new stream. Let's do that. Let's, because it's going to be difficult to keep this straight. All right, we're gonna do some more reading. We're gonna start in about 3 minutes, if that's okay. 6:05. How about that? 5 minutes. Give me a bit. This is gonna be First of all, I anticipate this is gonna be heavy. So if you're emotionally full, I understand why you might say, I've had enough, I'll catch this on replay. We are going to do a portal over to the new stream where we're going to be reading some of these documents and tearing through this. I'm also going to get all these over to Discord, so some of you who want to see them yourselves will be able to while the website is still crashed. The site is crashing really badly. Okay, let's see. Amber, we got it. Let's see. Recovery Addict. There it is. All right. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better. Please stay safe till we go live again in just minutes as we start reading some of these Brian Kober documents the Moscow Police Department just barely dumped entirely on the web. Their website has crashed. It took forever to download these. I've got 314 of them now. We're going to tear through some of these and see what it means, what it reveals. And hold tight. Amber, I'm uploading these as we speak. Hang on one second. All right, they're uploading as we speak, Amber. How on Discord? We'll put a link in the chat right now for Discord. We're also going to post one when we start the new live stream, but we're going to be over there in just a minute. Let me get just a second to get set up. Thank you very much. Who was it that sent this to me? Who gave me the heads up right when this posted? Because the website's crashed now. You know who you are. Your phone number ends in 99. Thanks for the tip. You guys will see you in just a little bit. Bye-bye. Wait, I'm still building the portal. Can't leave yet. All right, portal set up. Here we go.